Okay. Deputy Paul McCullough.
It's no surprise, Mr. Walsh, that I might ask you questions about both Metro and Lewis, given that I suppose we're probably one of the only constituencies in Dublin that has no fixed line rail running through our constituency. We're entirely dependent on bus for public transport, and so these projects are keenly awaited. Last October, reports emerged that the government was to make a strategic decision to delay the construction of Metro for 10 years. Subsequently, that proved not to be true. But it did emerge that there were delays in the Metro project. And I suppose it has been quite difficult for public reps to get to the bottom of that. What are those delays and what were the reasons for them? So I might concentrate on that, Mr. Walsh, if I could. First of all, could you outline how much has been spent on the Metro project to date?
Yes, 83 million from TII's expenditure.
Okay, and does that date back to the original 2005 proposal, or is that the more modern Metrolink iteration?
Modern Metrolink.
Okay, and how much was spent on the previous Metro North, as it was then called?
I don't have the exact number to hand, so I'm not going to just guess at one now.
Okay.
If you don't mind, we can go back to you with it then.
Well, you can imagine how a lot of people are very alarmed that after 88 million we don't have a Metro, and that a figure far north of that compounds that frustration. Can you understand that frustration, Mr. Walsh?
Not really.
Okay, well, I'll let you answer your own point there. Then, in what way? In what way do you not believe after 88 million euro being spent, and we stand up and ask questions in the Dáil of government ministers, and we can't be told when that project will be delivered?
I'm sorry. Is the question? Do I believe 88 million is reasonable?
The question was: do you recognise that people are frustrated after spending 88 million and having no timeline?
Well, I take your word for it if you're frustrated.
So,
I accept that you're expressing frustration.
Yeah,
but
and
you asked. But
it's reasonable that people are frustrated by that.
People's frustration is something I can't really comment on.
No, but you can comment on the delivery of the project. And so in 2018,
yes.
You published a timeline for the delivery of Metro. So let's look at that timeline. You said that in Q4 of 2017, the alignment option study identification and emerging preferred route will be published. Did you meet that target?
The emerging preferred route in Q4, can you remind me of the date again, please? Sorry.
Q4 2017.
Q4 2017. No, we didn't get out with the emerging preferred route until 2018.
Okay. And in Q1 2018, the emerging preferred route public consultation was due to take place. That was also missed as a result of missing the earlier deadline. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And in 2019, before COVID, the railway order application was due to be made to Bord Pleanála.
When the first public consultation started, that was the aspiration.
Okay.
A lot of issues were raised in the consultation, and they had to be addressed.
No, I'll get to that as well, Mr. Walsh.
Yeah.
So the question is that before COVID, before any possible delays arising from COVID, the Metro North, which was essentially a year or so after the timeline was published, you fell at the first go. So my question was, when you gave the deadline of Q3 2019 for the railway procurement order, and the 2027 operation date, why did you publish those two dates? And did you believe that they could be met at that time?
We were starting into the project from a standing start. We were working with the NTA to reflect the aspirations of the NDP as published, and building on recovery, that plan. So it was felt that these should be the targets we should aim for, because they were the targets set before we'd ever opened the book at all on where we were going with the project.
And the decision now not to provide an operation date, which I think seems to be the policy both of TII and NTA and to some degree of government ministers, is that why has that changed? Why was it okay to publish an operation date in 2018 and now you're not willing to publish an operation date?
I suppose one of the things that maybe should be understood is the amount of elements of the process that are outside of our control, namely the planning process and any kind of challenge to the planning process and a procurement process to follow.
And were you not aware of those challenges in 2018?
We were.
So I go back to the point. Why was it okay to publish a timeline in 2018 with an operation date in 2027 and it's not now? And you've said you wanted to reflect the aspirations of the NDP.
Yeah.
Is that code for there was pressure on you to deliver a deadline?
With the NDP came with pressure to deliver on deadline, yeah.
The question, though, has to be asked that you published a deadline in 2018, you immediately failed to deliver on those timelines. So the question is, was it a realistic timeline ever, or was it not resourced to a point where you could deliver within that deadline?
Yeah, I suppose I'd have to say that it was probably optimistic. It's not a case of resourcing it.
Yeah.
We have been adequately resourced for the progression of the project. It has taken time to deal with the issues that had to be dealt with and came out of public consultation.
And so I can see now your reticence to publish a new operation deadline because, well, look, you'll only get questions at the next Public Accounts Committee and thereafter. Unfortunately, you leave us, though, in a very difficult position because by not publishing any deadline, there's no way to hold the project to account.
Well, I could give you durations, if you like. Like I could tell you,
that'd be great. Actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for the bits that are within our control, the kind of durations that should be borne in mind is that from the time when government gives us approval, and we're hoping that that'll be in Q1 of this year, then we should be in a position to submit the project to On Board Pleanála in Q2 of this year. Now, how long it takes through the planning process is a matter for Board Pleanála and the challenges there, and whether there's any judicial review challenge will add a period of time that we can't determine either. Of course.
If there is no judicial review,
yeah.
What I suppose that's the most optimistic version.
Okay.
What would the next stage commence at?
Well, I suppose I would hope that we could get through Board Pleanála within 2 years.
Yeah.
And we could then commence the procurement process. And the procurement process would take at least 2 years. So our experience, and we're suggesting that an element of the project could be PPP, and our experience of PPPs is that they have quite a long procurement period because there's a lot of due diligence. It's a complicated contract, but it's important to get that right. So you'd want to be thinking in terms of 2.5 years for procurement. And then we think the project to construct and to commission will take between 8 and 9 years.
Okay. So I'm just, I had to sit the leaving cert and didn't have but I'm still struggling with the numbers. Not your fault, my fault. So let me say that. So we're talking about 2024, I suppose, an optimistic version to come out of planning, yeah. 2026, 2027 to come out of procurements, and then 9 years at the longest to come out of, so you're talking 2035 for an operation date. Is that a ballpark, given that it could also be longer if there's a judicial review?
All going well, yes.
Yeah. You know, it's hugely frustrating because the government hasn't made a decision to delay this by 10 years, but the project is looking like it will be delayed by 10 years. And so the question is, and this comes to the very core of these projects, because across North Dublin, people have lost complete faith in Metro. And, you know, there's a reason for that, and it's because it's a 20-year saga, right? Decisions out of your hands. It was delayed. It was delayed in 2012. There was a decision made. I imagine that added costs to the project. The route alignment, which I would love to investigate further with you, Mr. Watson. I understand because of representations by me and many other people about that route. I imagine there was increased costs, but I would go back and say that was also because of an unresearched proposal to put the station where it was on Moby Road. But all that being said, and for all those good reasons, the people of North Dublin are facing a situation where, you know, at the best, we're talking about 2035 for the delivery of a project that the government is willing to fully fund now. Can you accept the frustration that people have there? Because they have lost faith in this project, and they also then lose faith in all of the other good projects that you may deliver in our area. For example, Lewis, which I believe will have a much faster track, but nobody believes it.
I feel it incumbent on me to give you my honest opinion as to the durations that various elements of a project of that scale and complexity will take. And I think the approach we've taken and have put in the business case currently with government in terms of, say, cost forecasting around it is one that has been as comprehensive as we can bring to it. We engaged in a reference class forecasting exercise for the project, and engaging with Oxford Global Projects in order to give the government the best understanding of what cost forecasts might be. We've engaged with the construction methodology to the extent of having a good understanding of that construction period, so that there isn't, people are entering things with their eyes open.
A final short question, Chair. A final short question. I accept all of that.
Okay.
I accept all of that, but I don't see how any of that wasn't visible to you in 2018 when you provided a very clear timeline of 2027. And now we have a timeline of at least 8 years after that. And that is effectively a doubling of the length of the project. And I don't see the significant piece of information you're giving me that would have said that that information was not available when you published the timeline in 2018. And so therefore, we compound the disappointment again by having a timeline that wasn't realistic in the first place. Thank you, Mr. Walsh.
Okay. Deputy Sherlock, and I know Deputy Devlin has just joined us. Thanks. I know you're relatively late, so I'll let you next after Deputy Sherlock.
Thank you, Chair. I welcome the refreshingly honest answers to the questions that were